As Canada fights back and braces for economic pain, some Americans are speaking out, saying the pain will be felt on both sides of the border.
Canada's always been family. It's been a cousin. It's been a good neighbor. And the way the President of the United States is treating Canada, it's wrong, it's despicable, and I'm speaking out against it. President Trump, stop the tariff on Canada.
I'm joined now by U.S. Democratic Representative for Minnesota, Betty McCollum. Congresswoman, welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Thank you for inviting me, David.
In this video you've posted, you had a direct appeal to Canadians saying there are members of Congress that are speaking out. I know there's Democratic members of Congress speaking out. Are there Republicans, and are there enough Republicans for Donald Trump to listen?
Well, we need the Republicans, especially from the Great Lakes states and the Northern Tier, to speak out about what is unfair and unjust with these tariffs being imposed on Canada. Our greatest trading partner, our greatest ally, and I consider Canada family.
Donald Trump considers it the potential 51st state, and the Prime Minister said today he feels this is all about weakening our economy to the point that he can pursue his annexation agenda. Do you believe that's what the president has in mind?
I have no idea what this president has in mind, because he's out of his mind to put these kind of tariffs on Canada. And, you know, I respect the sovereignty of Canada, and I think that the U.S. government should do that as well. And we should do everything in our power to make Canada a stronger partner in these struggles that we find our democracies under assault from.
You say you're going to need the Republicans. Do you think you're going to get them? Because they seem to have fallen very much in line with the president, even after what happened in the Oval Office on Friday with President Zelensky. They're not really speaking out on this stuff, preferring more to make light of it, make jokes, and just support him on anything he does. I mean, what's your sense of getting critical mass from the other side of the aisle here?
Well, they need to be serious about this, because as Mr. Trudeau pointed out, that, you know, Trump started this. This is not only going to put, pain and suffering for Canadian families. It's also going to be for Minnesota families and families all across the United States. And I'll just give one example. Minnesota's a farm state, but we have farms all across our country. Over 80% of the fertilizer that we need to feed ourselves and to feed the world, which we should be doing through supporting and reinstituting U.S. aid, is from Canada. And so we exchange goods back and forth, and that's what's made this relationship so special. As an ally and as a partner, we should be supporting each other, and the president shouldn't be starting these unfair tariff wars that are going to hurt families on both sides of the border.
Well, instead, we're in this situation where it looks like we're going to be fighting each other with tariffs, counter-tariffs, and non-tariff measures as retaliation. The Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, said today that he's getting ready to put a 25% export tax on electricity. 1.5 million customers in Minnesota, Michigan, and New York get electricity from Ontario, so they're going to see their prices go up by 25%. And he says he's willing to shut the power off if that's what it takes. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I hope he doesn't shut the power off, because it's not the people of Minnesota and the other Great Lakes states that receive that power that are asking for this. So what we want to see happen is, and that's why I'm speaking out so strongly, I'm encouraging other members of Congress to speak out, to speak to the White House. This is just the wrong way to go about anything. The only thing I want to argue with Canadians about is maybe a hockey score and how many fish we can bring back. I mean, we are partners, we are allies, and for many of us, it is a family relationship. And for the president to being a bully towards any country, let alone a country that has stood with us at our times of need, and we support each other back and forth, it's just ludicrous. It's outrageous, and I am going to be calling on the Northern Tier Republicans to stand up and to tell President Trump this tariff is going to do harm to Minnesota families and families all across the United States. It's not going to help anybody. It's just putting a relationship that has been very strong, possibly on a hold from being able to move forward to even be stronger.
So Congresswoman, I just wonder, as a final question, what is your sense of the support for these tariffs among rank and file Americans? Because gas prices are going to go up, other things are going to start going up, housing's going to get more expensive. The knock-on effect of this makes little sense economically and on an affordability basis. What's your sense of how people support it today and how they might support it once the pain starts to move through the system?
So people in Minnesota were outraged when this first started coming up. several weeks ago, and I have heard nothing but support for Canada and against the president for putting these tariffs forward. 100%. And when I was in my office today and I was telling some people from northern Minnesota who are not my constituents that I was going to be standing up for Canada, they all said without a moment's hesitation, we're with Canada. These tariffs need to stop. I have not had one constituent, one person from my constituency, as I said, in St. Paul, Minnesota, or from any place in Minnesota. I haven't heard anybody think this is a good idea. It's a terrible idea, and it needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. The bullying has to stop. We need all our friends and allies with us. We shouldn't be looking for wedges against us, so the president has to stop.
Congresswoman Betty McCollum from Minnesota, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Well, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked today if these tariffs are an act of war. He said the tariffs are designed to directly attack Canada's economic sovereignty.